we're forming, we have some committees, and so we have been addressing that particular issue. So that is critical because, as everybody's stating, if the outside, we can do a lot here, but the exterior is also extremely important as well. So we've been really focusing in on that. So we're going to be partnering up and feeding back some more ideas on that. So we are addressing that.
Yes, I'll answer your question one second. Her hand's been up.
My concern, and no one has mentioned that, what about security? I think what has happened to this mall is the lack of security. Kids run around, they're not shopping, the parents drop them off, they're not shopping, they just be recognizing other shoppers. And just like the mall owner, I remember one there. You go there, you have to live with someone, if you just loiter around for no reason, you have to leave.
Yeah.
You have to show a receipt that you have shopped. And I think that's been the biggest problem here. One of the biggest problems.
I agree that security has historically been a problem. I will say that based on the research I've done, that is more of a perception problem than a reality problem today. And that in fact, this mall has the lowest crime rate of any mall in the Metroplex. We spend a lot of money on security. Now, we can always do better. You can always do better, but we've come a long way.
But it's not in crime. I'm not talking about crime.
Okay.
You know, there's this hurdle of harassment, hurdle of teenagers walking behind 2 or 3 girls.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that is not a crime, but it's annoying.
Yeah.
And,
I hear
you
what
know,
you're saying.
and the filthy language that they would use, they go in the store, they harm. I mean, it's just unacceptable.
I think it's a great point. I don't have a great answer.
You know what?
But I
just have, you know, security, that the way they wear their clothes, their pants hanging down, you know, no one needs to see their underwear.
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying. On the other hand, it's a free country, so we have to find the balance. Your question about the name, the answer is that's something that I'm going to seek a lot of feedback from the community on. The way I see it is there's 3 options. You stick with Southwest Center Mall, really 4 options. You go back to Redbird Mall. You go back to, you come up with something completely new, or you go with something that involves the word Redbird, but indicates a new day. The shops at Redbird, Redbird Village, Redbird Town Center. I don't know what the right answer is. I just know I can't think of any other options other than that. I'd be very curious by a show of hands who thinks we should do what.
And additionally, I have a couple more questions. So you talked about you bought the mall, but there are 6 owners of the parcels. So what do you actually own?
So there are 6 parcels of this property. There is the mall and its associated parking, which is different parcels around the parking lot. Then there's Burlington owns their building and their parking lot. Macy's owns theirs. Sears owns theirs. Dillard's owns theirs, and JCPenney owns theirs. That's 6. 5 anchors plus the mall. Each had separate ownership, and there's an agreement in place that sets forth the rules by which all 6 have to play. What I have closed on and currently own is the mall, which is all this entire building other than the anchors and its associated parking. I have under contract the old Dillard's on the south side of the mall and its associated parking, and I have an option to purchase the JCPenney on the west side. So when all is said and done, what will be under my ownership is the mall, JCPenney, and Dillard's. Burlington, Sears, and Macy's continue to own their buildings and their parking.
And my last question, do you know, have they committed, or how long have those existing anchor of the stores committed to be here?
Nobody has given me a firm time frame on commitment, but my understanding, here's my understanding, is that they want to be here, but they also want to see improvements. So I think if we do nothing for the next 3 years, we're gonna lose at least one of those anchors. But if they see movement, and they see the opportunity to improve their sales because of the rising tide of the mall being improved, I believe those anchors will stay.
And if I may address with Macy's, we do have a line of communication directly with Macy's, so we are able to deal with Macy's. I can't speak for Sears and for Burlington, but we are working closely with Macy's because that's one of their main concerns as well.
Because Macy's is close to moving out.
Well, we're working on that, trying to keep them here.
One thing I can absolutely confirm is that they are not on, Macy's just announced they were going to be closing 40 stores. This is not one of them.
Not one of them.
Yes, sir.
When you use the word upgrade and renovate, I'm sure you've answered my question, but as far as making the mall appealing, because right now there's really nothing appealing about the mall. It just doesn't, nothing just really jump out at you to make you want to shop. And another thing that really concerns me is the lighting situation. I mean, it's really terrible when you.
Are you talking about in the parking lot or inside the building?
Yeah, I mean, it's really terrible. And that could very easily send a message to the community that, well, not you, I know you just closed, so not you. But the current owners, they're not interested in the customers when they're leaving at night, as well as the employees. So your renovation, I'm sure it will include, making them all appealing. When you look at it, it's just